Welcome back then guys to this live stream. It is now time for race 1 of IFMC GP3 here at Spa-Francorchamps, and if you didn't see what happened yesterday in qualifying, Josef Newgarden completely dominated the qualifying session to take pole position, adding 2 more points to his championship lead, with nearest rival Ferdinand Habsburg grabbing second and his teammate Will Power rounding out the top 3. So hopefully we could get a very interesting race here at Spa-Francorchamps, and that's that really. So as you can see, we've got 11 laps of action here for race 1 here at Spa. So before we start then guys, let's mute this, turn this up a little, and let's have a look at the grid for race 1 here at Spa. Here we go then. So on pole position, it's Josef Newgarden with Ferdinand Habsburg in second. Will Power lines up in third with Alexander Rossi in 4th position. Nick Heidfeld starts 5th. Alongside him is Daniil Kvyat in 6th. Sébastien Buemi on his return this weekend starts 7th with Robert Kubica in 8th position. Jack Aitken starts in 9th. Alongside him is Marco Andretti in 10th position. Felipe Nasr starts 11th with Michael Elation in 12th. Nico Kari starts 13th with Jenson in 14th position. Santino Ferrucci starts 15th, Antoine Hubert in 16th position. Lucas de Grassi starts 17th with Anthony Davidson in 18th position. 19th is Aerovinio, 20th is Antonio Fuoco, still struggling in the AYP racing car. And on the back row of the grid, it's Kyle Kaiser, and due to his qualifying ban, Daniil is in 22nd and last. And that is the grid for race 1 here at Spa. So there is the grid then guys for race 1, and let's see the weather. It is still bright and sunny, so it's been dry today. Whether that remains the same for tomorrow, we'll wait and see. But without further ado then guys, leave your predictions and let's get straight to race 1 of IFMC GP3 here at Spa. So if you can hear anything in the background by the way guys, so uncontrollable that is. So here we are then on the grid then. It's Newgarden on the right of your screens, it's Habsburg on the left. Who's going to get the lead into turn 1 as we wait for the 5 red lights to go off to signify the start of the race here at Spa-Francorchamps as we wait to get underway. 1 light is on, 2 lights are on, 3 lights are on, 4 lights are on, and it's 5 lights are on, and we wait for the lights to go off, and it is go for race 1 here at Spa, and it seems to be a good start from the front 2. Who's got a better one out of Newgarden and Habsburg as they all stream down towards turn 1 side by side. Go Newgarden and Habsburg as they go down towards turn 1. Habsburg trying to hang it around the outside through turn 1. Has he got the move done as they're going to keep side by side down the hill? A little bit of contact but not too much there as they go down the hill now then, and Habsburg takes the lead there then. Habsburg leads the race as they go down the hill. He grabs the lead from Newgarden. Rossi has overtaken Power at the start of Rossi up into 3rd place. A good start from Kubica, who gets up to 5th after only qualifying 8th. A good start from Andretti, who's in the points. Heidfeld's down to 9th as everybody goes around the dodge of Eau Rouge, and a crash for Lucas de Grassi. I think somebody tapped de Grassi off at Eau Rouge. We need to have a look at that. De Grassi has crashed up at Eau Rouge corner. Did somebody clip him from the rear? We need to have a look as we go down the hill, and de Grassi was having a look to the inside there of contact with, I believe that was Santino Ferrucci. So the pair of them hit each other there, and de Grassi has ripped a wheel in the process. We need to have a look and see what it was like on Santino Ferrucci's perspective now then as we go down the hill. So here we go then, up towards Eau Rouge. At this point, de Grassi looking to the inside, and Eau Rouge, it's going to be quite complicated going into that corner, and Santino just didn't see him going into that corner, so that's going to have to be investigated for sure, that incident. But either way, de Grassi is out of the race, and we're down to 21 runners as a result as we turn down a straight. Power looking back down the inside of Alexander Rossi into Lacoon, but Rossi just able to hang it around the outside and keep on a 3rd place. Confirmation that de Grassi is out of the race. Kvyat looking for a way through on Kubica as they go through Lacoon now then, as Button has dropped back a bit from Ferrucci, as now through Lacoon we go. Apt bringing up the rear is now the only American engineering car left in the race. Habsburg pulling a bit of a gap now in front of Josef Newgarden. Habsburg, who now has a job at Dorado next season as a test driver. Newgarden starting to fall back into the clutches of fellow compatriot here. Alexander Rossi, he's still at the same time keeping back Newgarden's teammate Power. So at the moment, Rossi finding himself in a Dacia Eldorado Junior sandwich, as now Power looking to see if he can find a way through down into turn 12. Power looking to the inside into turn 12, but Rossi, having none of that, shuts the door there and keeps on the third. This allows Newgarden to get away. As a result, as they come up towards the double right-hander now then at turns 14 and 15 now then, Kubica and Kvyat start to close up to that battle. Kubica's pulled a bit of a gap in front of Kvyat, as unseen by the cameras. Andretti passed Buemi up to 7th, but it seems that Buemi wants that place back wants to get that place back off Andretti, unable to make the move stick that time around. As meantime, Nasr looking to the inside of, I believe that's Michael Elation he's looking at for P10. And a beautiful pass from the Brazilian. Up to P10 goes Felipe Nasr. Now Aitken wants an attack after a poor start from him. Now they're going into the bus stop chicane for the first time today. Will Aitken get the move done on Elation? And he does. Up into 11th goes Jack Aitken. And now Elation finds himself in the clutches of Kari. A little bit of locking up there. And there's a spinner that looks like Button. Button has gone for a spin at the chicane. Let's have a look then. So it seems that Kyle Kaiser was trying to find a way through into the chicane, going into that corner, and just a similar incident to what we saw with Russell and Ericsson a little earlier on in GP2. A similar sort of incident there, this time involving Button and Kaiser there, and Button seemingly holding up fellow compatriot Davidson, trying to get a move on there. And wow, that incident will have to be investigated for sure between Button and Kaiser there. That's, oh, he shoved off Davidson there a little bit there, and wow, that's pretty much that then, really. So Button has now dropped back down to 20th place. Meantime, back with the top 4. And as you can see, it started celebrating itself a little bit. Meantime, Kubica having to fend off from Kvyat, who's all over the backside of him now. They go down towards Lacombe. Will Power on the back of Rossi, but not close enough to make a pass into Lacombe. Newgarden trying to close back in, it seems, onto Ferdinand Habsburg. Kubica fends off from Kvyat into that corner. Buemi now starting to drop back from Andretti. As meantime, Heidfeld starting to feel the pressure a little bit from Heidfeld. He had to go a little bit defensive into Lacombe, which made it awkward into the second part of that corner. Aitken looking for a way through into that corner as well. Buemi closing back in now to Andretti to try and get them 2 championship points back off him. Hubert all over the backside of Santino Ferrucci now then. So 2 investigations need to be done in this GP3 race. One between Grassi and Ferrucci, and the other between Kaiser and Button. As now coming out of Poo-on, Habsburg continues to lead the way. That's a problem for Newgarden. The championship leader's got a problem. A loose wheel. Power takes advantage of Newgarden holding up Rossi. As Elation is out of the race. So a lot going on this lap. Michael Elation is out of the race. There's Elation in the background. There he is. And it is a transmission problem that takes care of Michael Elation. So he's out of the race. We're down to 20 runners in this race. And wow, that's that. He joins Grassi on the retirement list in this race. But a loose wheel for Josef Newgarden. He's going to have to come into the pit to repair that. But as a result of holding up Rossi, it's allowed his teammate Will Power to get up into 2nd place. And I bet Rossi thinks there's a bit of shenanigans going on there at Eldorado. Kubica goes through. Kvyat will go through. And it looks like if Andretti's not careful, Newgarden will hold him up and put him back in the pile. Buemi's all over the backside of him. Andretti goes through. Buemi will now follow suit into Blanchimont, trying to find a way through on Andretti. But Andretti shutting the door there. And wow, as good move there from Nasr. He gets the move done on Heidfeld, and up into 9th place he goes. And now Aitken wants to attack for what will be P9 now. And in fact, Newgarden can't make it to the pits. It seems that the problem has got worse, and Newgarden, the championship leader, is out of the race, and we're down to 19 runs as a result. His nearest rival, Habsburg, sets the fastest lap of the race, and at this rate, I believe Habsburg will lead the championship again as a result of Newgarden's retirement. And well, that's that really. So we're now down to 19 runners as a result. And now Power trying to do the honours for Eldorado and try and close up onto leader Habsburg if he can. Meantime, Kubica is starting to close up onto the backside of Alexander Rossi as we go through the daunting Eau Rouge corner now then. We're on lap 3 of 11 in this race down there. So 9 laps remaining in race 1 here at Spa. Button now sets the fastest lap due to the fact he's got clear air in front with a 1:59.493. I think that sets a Button currently holding on to the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race as we go down towards Lacombe. Kvyat still sticking with Kubica. At this stage, Buemi started to drop back from Andretti again as Heidfeld going a tad bit defensive from Jack Aitken. He's trying to find a way through in the Willows racing car. Through the clean we go now then, feeding it around the right hand and now then using a lot of curb on the outside before approaching turn 8 on the track. Aitken looking for any way through on Nick Heidfeld at this stage. through turn 8, and then we'll go up towards the corner with no name, which is turn 9 now then, flicking the car in. Through turn 9 we go, using a lot of curb on the outside. There's Elation's car, which pulled off earlier thanks to a transmission problem. As now up towards Puan we will go now then, as Aitken looking to put Heidfeld on some pressure now then. In this race, in the meantime, look at Kubica all over the backside of Rossi as these two fight it out for the final podium place. Coming out the corner now, they're heading in towards the double right-hander now. Then will Kubica find a way through on Alexander Rossi now then. Up towards the right-hander we will go out of the corner, and now heading down towards Blanchimont now then, as Kubica now then looks to the inside. Will Kubica get the move done as he looks to the inside? Unable to do so that time around. Rossi just able to fend him off there and keep hold of third place, but will Kubica try and get him into the bus stop chicane if he's got enough of a run. It doesn't look like he's closing off, so Rossi keeps hold of the place for the time being. As meantime, Aitken has taken 9th, looks like at Blanchimont as well, like Nasr did earlier. So up to 9th place goes Jack Aitken, getting through on Heidfeld, and Heidfeld now down to 10th place. Now Kai will try and catch up to Heidfeld if he can, as he's just outside the top 10, but he's under pressure from Carl Kaiser as well. As now down towards turn 1, Heidfeld trying to find a way back through on Aitken, but Aitken shutting the door at the last minute into La Source and keeps hold of 9th place for the moment as I go down towards the support pit straight. Heidfeld looking to get a run on Aitken if he can, not close enough to try and get a run up in towards Eau Rouge corner, and looks like he might try and line him up again up in towards the Kemmel straight. So through Eau Rouge we go then, up the hill now, then down the Kemmel straight and up towards the Cream we will go. Kari starting to close in a bit on Heidfeld, but can Heidfeld find a way back through on Aitken? It doesn't look close enough at this stage. I think there were some movements in front. I could be wrong. It didn't look like it, so I do apologise for that. Heidfeld not close enough to Aitken. Looks like Aitken's got that 9th place settled as now Kari starts to close in on Heidfeld, along with Kaiser, who's being dragged along in this as well. And so at the moment, Hubert in front of Ferrucci. Must have passed him unseen by the cameras, because I think the last time I checked, Ferrucci was actually in front of Hubert. Could be wrong on that. But meantime, look at this battle for third place. Kvyat has now got caught up in this battle now as it comes down towards Puan. Out goes Daniil Abt. So both American engineering cars are out. Daniil Abt is out of the race. What's happened to the German? And it looks like we might have missed him there, so we might have to catch on to Button just to see where he was, because Button was down in 18th before Abt's retirement. So whatever happened to Abt, he's out of the race, and we're down to 19 runners. Sorry, 17 runners, I should say, and we've missed him, it appears. So out of the race goes Daniil Abt. I think, in fact, wasn't there 19 a little earlier? I wonder if he's had a crash with somebody else, maybe, because Abt is out of the race. I wonder if somebody else has retired a little earlier on, unless that's just me being a bit thick again. I could be wrong on that, but there's now appearing to be 17 runners. So, and there is the other retirement. I just missed it there. So it looks like the pair of them may have crashed. It's Anthony Davidson who's out. So Anthony Davidson out. Those two must have had a coming together. So, but it was unseen by the cameras, I'm afraid. So, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to pick that up yet again, I'm afraid. So, that's that then, really. So, unfortunately, no footage of that incident as a result. As now we come through the right-hander. Kaiser looking to attack Kari for P11 there then. So unfortunately that incident between Abt and Davidson won't be under investigation because it was unseen by the cameras. As now meantime Kvyat all over the backside of Kvyat. So will he grab 4th on the Polish driver down the inside into the bus stop chicane? Will Kvyat get the move done? And yes he can. Up to 4th place goes Daniil Kvyat in the Pennzoil Grand Prix car. So up to P4 goes the Russian, and now Kubica is in the clutches of Andretti. Marco Andretti looking to grab 5th if he can. Andretti looking to the inside of Kubica. Will Marco Andretti do the job? Down the inside into La Source, and he gets the move done. Up into 5th place goes Marco Andretti. So Kubica loses 2 places in the space of a few corners there, but Kubica is still sticking with Andretti if he can, trying to get a run on him if he can up towards La Source, but not close enough. So he's going to try and hang back and get him back onto the Kemmel straight if he can, as Buemi looks to pick up on any opportunity if he can to pounce on a mistake as we come down the Kemmel straight now then down towards Lacombe. Kubica looking back down the inside on Andretti. In the background, looks like Aitken starting to close up on Nasr for that final points place. Down the inside goes Kubica. Will he retake 5th from Andretti? No. Andretti just able to hang it around the outside and keep hold of 5th place for the moment. As now through Lacombe we go. Jack Aitken trying to close back in onto Nasr. Looks like Heidfeld's picked up the pace and he's catching back up to those guys, but also dragging Kari and Kaiser along. Kaiser's still stuck behind the young Finn at this stage. So now we come through the left-hander. Kubica trying to find a way back through on Andretti if he can now. Then after being overtaken by Kvyat, which put him proud to Andretti, and then Andretti got him into turn 1 as now Kvyat tries to close up on third place man Alexander Rossi if he can. As meantime, I wonder if power is starting to gain a little bit onto Ferdinand Habsburg. It does look closer than what it has been before, but whether he's gaining significantly onto the Austrian, we'll have to wait and see as power now just flicks through the double right-hander. And of course, Power will be moving to the top class next season with GRM on a loan deal, I believe. Yes, it is, I believe, a loan deal from El Dorado. So Power will be racing in the top class next season with GRM replacing the outgoing Daniil Ricciardo. So that's that really, and he'll be joined next season by Esteban Ocon at that team, who's replacing fellow Frenchman Jean-Eric Verne. But anyway, we'll have a look and see what the gap is like very soon. Kubica trying to have a look at Andretti, but not close enough into the bus stop. Maybe he had a go at him at Blanchimont, but it didn't quite work out. He's also now brought Buemi into that fight as well. But let's see the gap between the top two of Habsburg and Power, and then we'll get back to that battle for fifth in a little bit as we're on lap 6 of 11. So 6 laps remaining in this race. 2.7 seconds of the gap between the top two. Kubica unable to find a way through on Habsburg into the left source. He's also got to be careful about Buemi because he's right on the prowl of him as well as they go down the support pit straight up towards the daunting Eau Rouge corner now, then flicking the car in through the left-hander. It looks like he's pulling a bit from Buemi because he's right in the slipstream now then of Marco Andretti. Will he retake the place back off Andretti down the Kemmel Straight if he's got enough of a run? Down the Kemmel Straight we go, then will Kubica retake 5th place off Marco Andretti as he come up towards the Coombe now then. Will he get the move done up into towards the right-hander? And no, Kubica not close enough to make it past that time. As meantime, Kaiser now looks to the inside of Kari. Will he grab 11th this time from the Finn? And he can. Up into 11th place goes Kyle Kaiser, disposing of Nico Kari. So up to P11 goes the American and I believe the 2017 Indy Lights champion in real life. As meantime, Button 17th closing back up to that pack. As meantime, we'll need to see if Power is actually gaining. Last time, of course, last lap around it was around 2.7 seconds between Habsburg and Power, so we'll see if Power has the pace to close up onto the Austrian in this race. Kvyat still not close enough to the backside of Rossi to try and get that final podium place off the American now then, as Andretti has a little bit of a gap, a little bit of a comfortable gap between himself and Kubica, but it only takes not a very good exit out of a corner to bring Kubica right back on the prowl of the grandson of Mario Andretti, the 1978 Formula 1 World Champion, and the son of Michael Andretti, a former Indy 500 winner, and at one point a Formula 1 driver who did very poorly with McLaren back in 1993. So just a little bit of trivia about Andretti's family there. But now through Blanchimont we go. Kubica still not close enough to the backside of Marco at this stage as they come up now towards the bus stop chicane. And Marco, of course, a third generation Andretti. So now out of the final few corners then we go, as Kubica trying to get the move done on Marco as he closes now back right into the slipstream of the Auto Jamaica driver, as Andretti looks to try and get a double points finish for Auto Jamaica today. As we go down the hill towards the support pit straight now then. Buemi starting to drop off this battle as now Nasr and Aitken start to close him in to try and gain the place off him, as we have 5 laps remaining in this race. We're on lap 7 of 11 here in Belgium, and of course the laps going down quite quickly, must be said. Obviously these races shorter because both of them are just essentially sprint races for these guys. As Kubica again not close enough to make a pass on Andretti into Lacombe there, as now he just flicks the car in through the right-hander, using a lot of curb on the outside before approaching turns 8 and then into the corner with no name, which is turn 9. And Kvyat still not within Rossi at the moment, still trying everything he can to gain onto him, but so far just nothing seems to be working for him at this stage as they come down towards Pouhon now then through the double left-hander on the track, as they'll go up towards turns 12 and 13 very soon. And we didn't check to see what the gap was like between Power and Habsburg that time around. I do apologise. We'll check on them this time around with 5 laps remaining, and when they're about to start lap 8 of 11, which will be 4 laps. As coming around the right-hander there then goes Power, trying everything he can and trying to push hard to try and get Habsburg in his race. Now his teammate early retired thanks to a loose wheel, which clearly turned into a suspension problem as he wasn't able to make it into the pits in time. And but now coming down towards the bust up chicane, then we go, and Power going around that chicane. Kvyat still struggling to get on terms with Rossi. Kvyat now they're starting to fall back from Andretti, and it looks like Buemi starting to close back in onto the Polish driver. What's the gap between the top two now then, as we have 4 laps remaining in this race? Out of the source we go now then, and the gap between the top two is 2.8 seconds. So, and no problem for Power. Power has got a problem. So both Eldorados hit with trouble. It's a transmission problem that takes care of Power down at the support pit straight, heading towards Eau Rouge. That's not really that's possibly the worst place to have a problem at all. And well, luckily he's off the racing line, but it looks like people are going to have to try and avoid maybe an overtake into that corner. Willpower is out of the race, and we're down to 16 runners as a result. Both Eldorados are off on the sidelines, and that is going to make Auto Jamaica very happy, because not only will Habsburg gain possibly retake the lead in the Drivers' Championship, but Auto Jamaica will take a chunk out of Eldorado's lead. I'm not sure if it will be the lead in the Drivers' Championship, but there we are. That now puts Kvyat onto the podium and into the points. It will put Kyle Kaiser, in fact, because unseen by the cameras, he's passed Jack Aitken. So up into 8th place goes Kyle Kaiser, and now Aitken finds himself into the clutches of Nick Heidfeld again. So Kaiser up into 8th place, but it looks like Aitken's trying to get him back now then, in towards the left-hander now then, into Pouon. Will Aitken get the place back? No, Kaiser shutting the door through Pouon there and keeping hold of 8th place for the time being, as we now come up towards turns 12 and 13. Aitken having to go a tad bit defensive, because Heidfeld trying to see if he can have a look at his position now. Then as they come out of the corner up towards the double right-hander we go. Aitken back on the prowl of Kyle Kaiser, looking to retake that points place off the young American as they go around the right-hander now then on the track, heading up towards Blanchimont. Aitken looking to the inside of Kaiser. Would he get the place back of the young American into Blanchimont? And no, not quite. Kaiser just shutting the door there. And it seemed the unseen by the cameras, he also passed Heidfeld a little earlier on, as well as now Aitken unable to get Kaiser that time around, not close enough to make a pass, and may need to start worrying about Heidfeld. In fact, all 3 of them are now starting to close right into the prowl of Felipe Nasr, so we could have a 4-way scrap for 7th place in the closing stages of this race, as Ferdinand Habsburg now has 3 laps to go here for race 1, as now we come up towards La Source, and so through the right-hander we go now then, as we head down the hill towards the support pit straight. Hubert looking to try and get on terms with Kari. He's starting to close him up for P11 at this stage, as just to let you know, we only have 16 cars left now in this race as we come up towards Lacombe now then. Here's Ferdinand Habsburg with 3 laps remaining, and as long as he doesn't put a foot wrong, he's looking good to take his 2nd IFMC GP3 victory of his career, and the first man, I believe, to get 2 victories this season. So it seems that obviously he will be a little bit happy about the knowledge that he will retake the lead, I believe, in the Drivers' Championship as a result of his rival Josef Newgarden retiring a little earlier on due to a loose wheel, and double bonus for Auto Jamaica as well, that Will Power retired thanks to a transmission problem from 2nd place. So it looks like Auto Jamaica will gain hugely in the Teams Championship as a result of Andretti being up now into 4th place, I believe. Yes, it is 4th. Kubica starting to drop back from him and unable to get the pace of the American. Buemi just losing touching distance from those guys as a result. Felipe Nasr just going around the left-hander on the track, as they now come up towards the double right-hander, and Kaiser now leaving Aitken back to fend off from Heidfeld, because now Kaiser's starting to attack 7th place man Felipe Nasr as they come around these corners. They'll soon be starting the penultimate lap, so really Kaiser's only got 2 and a bit laps in which to get into the rear of Nasr and passing for 7th. Potentially plenty of time really, because he's within touching distance now of the young Brazilian. Aitken looking like he's got enough of a gap in front of Heidfeld. Heidfeld not close enough to make a pass on the British Korean into the bush stop there, but Heidfeld just needs to get a run perhaps on him to possibly get him down the Kemmel Straight if he's unable to do so down the source. Habsburg has now started his penultimate lap here for race 1. As you can see there, Kyle Kaiser breaking that a little bit later than what Nasr did, going out to the source as they come down the hill towards the support pit straight now. Then will Kaiser get the move done on Felipe Nasr as they will go up the hill to up through the daunting Eau Rouge corner. Through Eau Rouge we go now, then Kayser trying to find a way through if he can on Felipe Nasr. Heading down the Kemmel Straight now then towards Lecombe. Will Kayser get the move done on Felipe Nasr at this stage? Unless Kayser can find a way through on Nasr. It doesn't look like he's close enough to make a pass that time around, despite Nasr going defensive into Lecombe. And as a result, Nasr keeping on 7. So at the moment, it stays like this. The race 2 grid will look like this. Kayser will be on pole with Nasr in second, Buemi third, Kubica fourth. It looks like Buemi's actually starting to close back in onto Kubica. Just a little bit of a note. It'll be Andretti will be 5th, Kvyat in 6th, Rossi 7th, and Habsburg will of course be in 8th because it's looking good for him to become the first man this season in IFMC GP3 to take 2 victories. So now through the left-hander will go Ferdinand Habsburg, as he will now go through the double right-hander on the track, using a lot of curb on the outside, feeding it around this right-hander now then, as he will now come up towards Blanchimont. As meantime, Sébastien Buemi trying to close back in onto Kubica for P5 if he can in the Kennystar Motorsport car. Kayser looking to see if he can get Nasr possibly into the bus stop chicane, as it looks like Aitken starting to get away now a bit from Heidfeld. Heidfeld just hasn't got the pace as Hubert starts to reel in on Kari for P11 right behind Heidfeld. So a few battles to contend with towards the end of the race. But meantime, Habsburg comes around the final corner and Ferdinand Habsburg is about to start his final lap for race 1 here at Belgium. It's been a brilliant race for the young Austrian, it must be said. He started in second place, managed to get the jump on Newgarden at the start, managed to get him around the outside, and then of course was able to get away even before Newgarden had his loose wheel and when Power had his transmission problems. Apart from that, nobody's been able to stop the Austrian, and he's looking good to take his second victory of the season, and importantly retake the lead in the Drivers' Championship, I believe, from Josef Newgarden. So and as a result, I believe Auto Jamaica will take a huge chunk out of El Dorado's lead in the team's championship. I don't know if they'll lead it, we'll have to wait and see by the end of today. Meantime, now Kayser still stuck behind Nasr, but can he try and get him down the Kemmel Straight this time around? Kayser trying to tuck up into Nasr's slipstream as we come up towards Lecombe now then. 4th, 5th and 6th look to be separated. They seem to be settled now. They better come down towards Lecombe. Nasr goes defensive, and rightly so. Kayser not close enough to make a pass on Nasr that time around to keep hold of 7th place. Hubert not close enough to get Kari, so Kari keeping hold of 11th. He's possibly only got one more opportunity left, which will be down at the bus stop chicane. Button looking to salvage a position before the end of the race as he's right on the prow of Antonio Fuoco on this final lap, and he looks to get out of last place before the end of the race after what happened to him earlier on lap 1 at the bus stop chicane with Carl Kayser. That incident, of course, being under investigation. But meantime, here comes Here comes Ferdinand Habsburg. He's just coming around turns 14 and 15 for the final time today, as he just comes out of that corner now then up towards Blanchimont to go. Rossi looking strong in second and Kvyat looking strong in third place. The top 3 already settled a few laps ago, but Habsburg now then coming around Blanchimont. Round the second party you go. He will now come up towards the bus stop chicane now then for the final time now then today. Through the bus stop goes Habsburg. Out of the final few corners he goes, around the final corner, and it is going to be Ferdinand Habsburg who wins race 1 here at Belgium. Congratulations to him and the Auto Jamaica team. He takes his second victory of the season and retakes the lead in the Drivers' Championship as a result, I believe. Alexander Rossi finishes in second. Daniil Kvyat rounds off the podium in third. Andretti 4th, a double points finish for Auto Jamaica. 5th for Kubica, 6th for Buemi. I think that's Andretti's first points of the season. Nasr just holds off Kayser to finish 7th. Kayser finishes 8th, so Carl Kayser will be on pole for race 2 tomorrow. Aitken 9th, Heidfeld 10th, Kari 11th, Hubert close behind in 12th, Ferrucci 13th, Vinio 14th, Fuoco just holds a Button for 15th, and Button of course 16th in the end. So there you have it then. In the end, it's Ferdinand Habsburg who wins the race after a totally dominant race as a result of the Eldorados retiring, but even then he was still lapping quicker than both Newgarden and Power was in this race. So there you have it then, guys. After all of that, here is the result of race 1 here at Spa. Ferdinand Habsburg won the race with Alexander Rossi in second. Daniil Kvyat finished in third with Marco Andretti 4th, Robert Kubica 5th, Sébastien Buemi 6th, Felipe Nasr 7th, Kyle Kayser in 8th with Jack Aitken 9th, Nick Heidfeld in 10th, Nico Kari 11th, Antoine Hubert 12th, Santino Ferrucci 13th, Vinio 14th, And if you scroll down the rest of the field, it is Antonio Fuoco 15th, Jenson Button the last of the finishers in 16th. The retirements being Will Power, Daniil, Anthony Davidson, Josef Newgarden, Michael Alation and Lucas Di Grassi. They were the retirements of race 1 here at Spa. So let's see who set the fastest lap of the race, who's going away with the bonus point. And it was Jenson Button with a 1 minute 59.463 due to the clear air in front. So he did salvage something despite the bad race he had. Because he set the fastest lap, Button will go away with the bonus point in the end. He was 1/10 quicker than eventual race winner Ferdinand Habsburg. So there you have it then, guys. That has been it for race 1 of IFMC GP3. They'll be back tomorrow at 3:30 tomorrow for race 2 of the weekend. And that is it for today's live stream then, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. It has been a very entertaining day, it must be said. And a good race for both feeder series races nonetheless. The podium for GP3 is coming away just after this. But that has been it then, guys, for today's live stream. I hope you've enjoyed it. We will see you then, guys, tomorrow at 3:30 after the Formula 1 race in Spain for race 2 of IFMC GP3, the sprint race for IFMC GP2, and the 44-lap Belgian Grand Prix. Hopefully, all 3 of those races being all-time classics. So, until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you enjoyed it. So, thank you very much for watching. I've been JWF1, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 3:30 for the final bits of racing of the weekend. Until then, take care and enjoy the GP3 podium.